understanding and improvising.
When I'm listening to a candidate in an exam, I can hear in their playing or singing how well they understand music theory. Sometimes it sounds mechanical, the notes are in the right place, they follow each other in the right sequence, but the music's just missing. They miss out the colour, the expression, the connections in the music, because they don't understand what's going on under the surface. On the other hand, probably none of us took up a musical instrument in order to study music theory. Probably some people think of this as a rather dry, irrelevant, complicated thing to learn. Something that feels more like maths than music, something to get through. And I'm sad about that. And I'm quite often asked the question, what's the point of music theory? The way I see it, actually, theory is to music what language is to speech. When we're very young, we learn how to make different noises, and we copy and mimic, and we hear things around us, and gradually we learn to talk. But later, if we also learn about spelling, punctuation, grammar, the rules of language, we begin to understand how language works. We learn to read books, write our own stories, we learn to communicate with words in different ways. It's the same with music. It really helps you to know what to do by equipping you with senses and awareness that illuminate music more brightly for you than before. This opens up with possibilities. A new sound world full of tone, colour, shape and character. When you understand how music works, that understanding actually gets you closer to the things you loved about music in the first place. The sound, the feeling, the energy, the expression. So to me, that's not only the point of music theory, that's the magic of music theory.
Good evening, everybody. Just want to tell you that we're already live on the Zoom link. And we have the team, the London team, the CEO of ABRSM is already joined in, Mr. Chris Cobb, and the chief examiner as well. So we can all wave, maybe. They're all looking at us. So children, we can just wave out to him. Thank you. All right, so can you see him? Can we all wave out to him? So we have Mr. Chris Cobb there on the screen, and he's waving us back. A very good evening, sir.
Hello, everyone.
So we are going to have a group photograph right now with we welcome our manager, Professor Geeta Gandhi Kingdon. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us. Let's welcome her with a huge round of applause, children. And also our president, Mr. Rogers, sir. Thank you, sir, for joining us. So now it's time for the picture perfect moment, the Kodak moment.
Recording in progress.
Thank you, dear children.
I think we've lost them.
Sure have.
Yeah. They all gone now, I think. Oh no, there's a few people on the call, but
Whether James is in touch by another channel, maybe to try and get contact.
there's a Teams chat going on, Jane, Mervyn.
enrich and elevate all our endeavors. We are equally delighted to welcome Mr. Mervyn Cousins, the Chief Examiner of ABRSM, and Mr. James Welburn, the Deputy Head of Engagement, ABRSM. Let's put our hands together. Both our examiners are joining us directly from ABRSM Head Office in London. Now, their expertise enriches this gathering, bringing invaluable insights to our community. It is also our great privilege to welcome today our esteemed examiners, Ms. Sien Yen Yong. Ma'am, could you please stand up so that everybody could see you? Mr. Robert Shaw and Mr. Philip Walsh. Their presence promises to deepen our understanding of the rich nuances and profound depths of classical music, inspiring all of us to explore new dimensions of musical expression. We are delighted, dear friends, to extend a warm welcome to Mrs. Sonia Khan, the Managing Director of the India National Youth Orchestra and Chorus, Head of ABRSM, and Director and Curator of the BRICS Alliance. Ms. Sonia Khan, could you wave right to your friends out here? Ms. Khan has been instrumental in fostering a fruitful collaboration between City Montessori School and ABRSM. She has also played a pivotal role in bringing this remarkable opportunity to our city, leaving an indelible mark with her vision and dedication. With profound gratitude, we welcome our most respected Professor Geeta Gandhi Kingdon and Roger sir out here in our midst. A warm welcome to both of you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your visionary leadership, which has helped to orchestrate the seamless integration of Western classical music and ABRSM into the very fabric of our school. We are delighted to announce that this gathering has been wonderfully enriched by the presence of 221 enthusiastic students from various schools, including La Martiniere College girls, along with students from various CMS campuses, which includes the Chowk campus, Station Road, Rajendra Nagar, Aliganj, Gomti Nagar 1, Anand Nagar, Indira Nagar 1 and 2. Yes, warm welcome to you, dear children, and the teachers who are accompanying all these wonderful young individuals. Furthermore, we are thrilled to share that approximately 2,500 eager students from City Montessori School, Rajajipuram Campus 1, along with their parents, are here today with us, all united by a deep enthusiasm to explore and learn more about the world of Western classical music. This collective passion promises to make today's event an enriching journey for all involved. I'm also delighted to welcome Ms. Shipra Upadhyay, who is here with us, the head of capacity building. Thank you, ma'am, for being with us today. And of course, this workshop, dear friends, promises to bring a lot of opportunity, and you will get a chance to delve into the rich, guidance that will be provided to you by examiners out here. The workshop will provide the youth, all of you, with a profound insight into the vast scope and opportunities within the Western classical music. It is now my most profound honor to invite an extraordinary beacon of educational vision and inspiration, our most respected school manager, Professor Geeta Gandhi Kingdon, to grace this gathering with her words of wisdom. With deep reverence and unbound enthusiasm, I invite her to address our distinguished assembly and extend a heartfelt welcome to our esteemed guests whose presence illuminates this momentous occasion with the radiance of musical and academic excellence. Warm welcome to you, ma'am. Happy learnings, dear students. Let's warmly welcome our very, very dear and most respected manager, Professor Geeta Gandhi Kingdon, ma'am.
I must say that I was not really expecting to speak. So I think I'd just like to say a very warm welcome to the examiners that are here, all the way from the UK, to examine the students who have taken part in the ABRSM exams this year. I want very much also to thank Chris Cobb. Thanks, Chris. Your support has been very instrumental in just the sheer encouragement, the number of students that have joined with ABRSM, started their journeys. I think a part of it, you've been an important part of the inspiration for them to join when you came here at the end of August and early September. Thanks to all of ABRSM, back at the headquarters. Thank you for sending your examiners here. And I'd like very much to thank Ms. Se Yen Young, I hope I've pronounced that correctly, Mr. Robert Shaw, Mr. Philip Walsh, and of course, Sonia Khan as well. Thank you so much for being here. It's a challenge, I know, and these are hundreds of students, but it's also a triumph for our school that such a large number of children have taken part in the ABRSM this year. It is a testament to the importance that Mrs. Nisha Pandey, the great principal of this campus, attaches to music, notated music in particular, but really all kinds of music. The fact that so many children have become interested in learning an instrument and in wanting to be certified for the skill level that they are acquiring. I'm sure, students, that you have gained a lot just by the sheer fact of registering for this exam, which in Indian terms, it's not it's quite a pricey exam, but the fact that the students have registered, you will have worked hard and you will have seen your own skill level grow. So I'm really proud of you for having put yourself forward for this new kind of learning. And I'd really also like to welcome the students that have come who are taking part in the ABRSM exams from many, many other campuses of CMS. Will you please raise your hand wherever you are? The campuses other than Rajajipuram campus, if you're present here. I can see loads of hands have gone up over there. Well done. Congratulations to you all and the music teachers of these campuses for having encouraged your students to take up individual, tuition in an instrument. Well done, and I'm so proud of you. And I think also girls that have come from Lamatnia girls, thank you for taking part and thank you for being a part of this evening's event as well. You're very warmly welcomed. So now the great Rajajipuram campus students that are supporting those of their fellow students, thank you so much for all your support. You can wave as a mark of your support for these ones who are sitting in the front who are taking part in this thing. Hopefully, hearing the kind of, what you will hear this evening will give you a better idea of what music can be like, how it can enrich all our lives. So have a wonderful evening and a warm welcome again to the three examiners that are here, Ms. Say, Mr. Robert Shaw, Mr. Philip Walsh. And thanks, Sonia, for bringing this sort of music in large, vast numbers over here. Thank you so much to Mr. Shamim Wahad. Thank you so much to Mr. Mungara. And to all particularly to the music teachers of this campus, Mr. Abhay Samuels, Ms. Srishti Pandey, Mr. Aditya Yash, and there's Mr. Andrew Pakyam, and I think there's one or two that have recently joined, so thanks to them as well. Mr. Rosario as well for violin. Thank you so much, students, and I know that your skill will grow like anything. Next year, you will feel that you're really making music that's actually, the musicality will come out and you will feel the growth in yourself, in your musical talents. And as you go on, you'll realize what enormous benefits music has for you. So, well done and thank you very much.
invite the legendary personality who has always served as a source of inspiration for all of us, running a team members around the common objectives and creating a strong sense of purpose and direction. Let's welcome Sonia Khan ma'am with a huge round of applause to address the gathering.
Jai Jagat and good evening, everyone. Before I begin, I would like to invite our Chief Executive Officer to join us from London, Mr. Chris Scott.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Sonia, and thank you, Geeta.
Just a minute, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Hello? Can you hear me? Wave if you can hear me. No? Can you hear me now? Hello? Hello?
Dear Chris, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you. I bet.
No, but we can't hear you still. We can't hear them.
Can you hear me? We can hear Chris.
Chris, we are just sorting out what the issue is, so I'm just going to welcome them in the meantime. Good evening, and thank you so much, everybody, for coming. I'm thrilled to be back at the City Montessori School, Rajajipuram, for the ABRSM workshop. I'd like to start by expressing my gratitude to the school administration.
Hello. No.
Mrs. Nisha Pandey and her dynamic team of teachers, and the backbone for this event, Chipra Upadhyaya. Can you hear now, Chris?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, so let's start with Chris.
Perfect.
They have a busy yes.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name's Chris Cobb. I'm the Chief Executive of ABRSM. It's a great pleasure to see all your smiling faces, and particularly all of those T-shirts. They look absolutely fabulous. I had a wonderful time when I visited Lucknow earlier in the year, in the summer. And it's absolutely delightful seeing Dr. Geeta Gandhi, Mrs. Nisha Pandey, and Sonia, and other faces that look so familiar now. I had such a good time visiting the City Montessori School, and it's lovely that the La Martiniere Girls is there as well, because I was able to visit that school as well. The visit really gave me inspiration for what you can achieve. And I'm delighted that ABRSM is so much. I'd like to put out a special thanks to all of the people that are arranged today, particularly Dr. Geeta Gandhi, and it was a pleasure meeting her sister Neeta Gandhi and her mother Bharti Gandhi, and also recognizing the huge work that her father Dr. Jagesh Gandhi did to establish the schools. I'd like to thank formally Mrs. Nisha Pandey, who's the principal of the Rajajipuram campus, Mrs. Manjeet Batra, Mrs. Jyoti Kashyap, Dr. Vinita Kamran, Mrs. Abba Anant, Dr. Jayeshi Krishnan, Mrs. Shivani Singh, Mrs. Sanjita Banajai, Mrs. Aditi Sharma, Mrs. Dipali Gautam, Mrs. Veena Sethi, Mrs. Trapti Dwivedi, Mrs. Kamal Valacha, and Mrs. Sipra Pandey. I'd like to thank you all so much for everything you've done to work towards today. I wish all of you in the audience all the best wishes for your studies in music. I think it will take you places that you can't imagine. Music is the food of our souls, and I think that it will live with you forever. So learn your instruments, learn them well, and enjoy the music that you're able to make. With that, I'm going to hand over to Mervyn Cousins, who's one of our chief examiners. So over to you, Mervyn.
Thank you, Chris, and how wonderful it is to see so many people there. It's great to see your excitement as well. There are actually 5 of us as chief examiners here in the UK, and we are all practicing musicians and teachers and performers too. So we're always delighted to say thank you and be with other musicians such as yourselves, however long you've been playing or singing for, and whatever sort of instrument you have. ABRSM is much more than just the exams, but what the exams do, of course, is give you that goal to aim for that you've already been told about this afternoon, this evening, and that's recognised all across the world. Very important, and of course, all the skills of being a musician help with all sorts of other skills in life as well. So whatever you're doing and whatever sort of exam, very best wishes for that. I've been asked to sort of give a couple of tips from the chief examiners. I'm not sure whether you've all done your exams yet, but these apply for exams and performances. So I've just got 3. First is obviously really try hard beforehand, practice, take advice from your teachers, play as much as you can. And then before the performance or the exam, try and have a run through. Try and go through the whole thing so you get a really good feel for what it's like. And then when it comes to the exam, here's the 3rd point, really try to enjoy it. Those examiners you've either seen or you can see today sitting with you, they're all on your side. We're all musicians and we want the best for you. So really go for it when you do your performances and your exams. And talking about those examiners, I just want to add my personal thanks to Philip Walsh, Rob Shaw and Se Yan Yong, who just in the picture I was seeing there along with you. Thanks for all your work and all the other examiners that travel to India as well. And with that, I'll hand over to my colleague James Welburn, who is our Deputy Head of Engagement. Thank you all very much indeed.
Thank you, Mervyn, and thanks, Chris. And a huge warm welcome from me as well. It's great to be with you all today, at least virtually, and for what I know will be a really fun and engaging session with our examiners. It's also nice to echo Chris's words to see so many red ABRSM t-shirts. So I wonder if we can get some of those once the session's finished. Look really fun. My name's James Welburn. I'm Deputy Head of Engagement at ABRSM, and I'm really pleased to be able to share just a little bit with you about how ABRSM supports music education all over the world in our role as a global music education charity. As we've heard, while best known for our exams, which you'll be hearing about more in this session with our examiners shortly, ABRSM exists to promote, encourage and support a life with music more broadly. And we do this in a lot of different ways. And I wanted to just share some of these with you to set the scene, because as you think about the music exams, hopefully thinking about, as Geeta shared earlier in her speech, how music impacts us in so many ways and how the exams can play a part of our music education journeys. So we work in partnership with organisations all over the world, and we do this to open up opportunities for music learners to make and progress in music in all its forms. In India, we're delighted to be partnering with the India National Youth Orchestra and Chorus, led by the brilliant Sonia Khan, in support of their brilliant performance programme, which takes place across both India and internationally. And we've also got an evolving suite of programmes that support the next generation of musicians, whether that's performers, composers, teachers or leaders. In the UK and in Asia, we've got a flagship composer mentoring programme, And this helps us to identify exciting composers that are living and working today and help them to explore how writing music for educational settings can form part of their music career. As a composer myself, this is a particularly exciting part of my role, and our programmes have got some brilliant representation from India. We've worked with composers on the programme, including Amit Anand, Shruti Rajasekhar, Santosh Bains and Vishak Ramaprasad, and many more in the future, I'm sure, to come. And it's been great to see some of their music appearing on ABRSM's syllabuses and publications in recent years, which is hugely, hugely exciting. I said earlier that ABRSM exists to promote a life with music. And to finish, I wanted to share just a few words about why we make music in the first place. Music is many things. It's a source of inspiration, of reflection. It helps us to communicate and to collaborate. It develops our resilience and our well-being, develops our sense of creativity and curiosity. And music is part of both our identity as individuals and the identity of the communities in which we live. And music is for everyone, from all walks of life. And that's something that we're really passionate about at ABRSM. And as you participate in today's session, I hope you feel encouraged to explore a wide range of music, to develop that sense of curiosity that I mentioned as musicians, to enjoy your music making, even your times of practice, knowing that in developing those skills as musicians, you'll be able to explore all the riches and joys that music brings that Geeta referenced earlier at the start of today's session. So a very big thank you on behalf of everybody at ABRSM for joining us today, and I'm really pleased to hand over to Sonia and to our examiners for the rest of the session. Hope you enjoy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris, Mervyn and James for joining us from London. And now we want to begin our workshop. Throughout this workshop, we'll be exploring the ABRSM exam system, discussing tips and strategies for success, and addressing any questions or concerns you may have. Our goal is to provide you with comprehensive understanding of the ABRSM exams and to equip you with the knowledge and skills necessary to support the students. I'd like to thank the music teachers and staff of the City Montessori schools, especially the Rajajipuram campus and the La Martiniere schools, for their hard work and dedication to music education. Your passion and commitment to nurturing the musical talents of your students are truly inspiring. Let's work together to make this workshop a valuable and enriching experience for everyone. We once again thank the CMS family for all the support and organization in putting up this mega ABRSM workshop. We'd like to invite our examiner, Mr. Robert Shaw, to please begin the presentation. Thank you so much. Before Mr. Shaw starts, by the time he's setting up his laptop, I would like to call on Mr. Philip Walsh to say a few words and get you ready for the main workshop.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. That's more like it. Good. It's lovely to be with you today. None of my friends, family, or colleagues in the UK will believe that there are so many of you here at a workshop. It's absolutely incredible to see so many of you. So can I take a selfie? Will you all smile for me in the selfie? Yes? Okay. Selfie time. Everyone, say cheese. And as I'm an ABRSM examiner, perhaps I should say sing cheese. La, sing cheese, cheese. Great, thank you very much. It's been so lovely to be here. I've been here 3 weeks already. I have another 3 weeks and I'll hear a great number of you in your exams. And I've already appreciated tremendously the enthusiasm and the effort that you put into those exams that I heard. both here at this school, other CMS schools, at La Martiniere Girls, and also at the beginning of my time in India, I went to Rupedia, where they've had exams for the very first time, and it was a great privilege to be part of that experience. Often people ask, why do we learn music? It's not just because perhaps one day we want to be on an international stage somewhere in the world performing. Music is happening at so many levels and for so many different reasons. And a music education doesn't just prepare us for what we do in the practice room, to be able to play our instrument or sing with as positive an effort as we can come up with, but it also involves so many different things which help us in other parts of our education. Because music is about physical ability, learning to coordinate. If we're a pianist, coordinate both hands. If we're a string player, coordinating this hand with the fingers and this hand with moving the bow. If you're a wind or a brass player or a singer, you're learning to control your breath. All these physical things are tremendously important. But then there's the other thing about music, because music is mathematical. Music is a science. Music involves literature and language if you're a singer. All of these things are so terribly important. And your education is broadened by your knowledge of music. But the most important thing, and we heard this just now from Mervyn Cousins, is that music is there to be enjoyed. And so if I can give one little piece of advice for your exams, is to enjoy it. We as examiners are there, we want you to do your very best. We're really rooting for you. It's tremendously important for us. And if we
Also, other musical details that you'll find on your music, so things like the articulation, the phrasing, that all comes under musical shape. Our final element, the 5, is performance. So here we're thinking about overall command, involvement with the music. So that's the extent to which you as candidates can tell a story, put over the character and mood of the music, and kind of reveal your sense of inner engagement with the composer's intentions. Okay, so hopefully, can you all see a copy of the marking criteria in front of you? I think I can see lots on the front rows here. So hopefully you can all see a sort of physical copy of what you're seeing on the screen there. So this is the marking criteria that all examiners mark to. We don't just kind of guess at the marks or put our personal preferences at the forefront of our marking. No, we mark to these transparent marking criteria. It does say at the top there grades 1 to 8 for pieces and songs, but it does actually include the initial grade, which is a marked exam, and uses the same criteria here. So thinking about the mark, if you look at the numbers on the left-hand side, these are the kind of notional marks, the kind of mathematical rough equivalents of where each band of marks sits. So marks of 20 to 23, that's a pass mark. 24, 25, 26, they're notionally merit marks. And 27 up to 30, distinction. Also, of course, we do need a kind of below pass category. So that's marks of 19 looking downwards. Okay. And then if you look in the sort of boxes for each blue description, you'll see that there's this, the kind of expectations we'd expect to hear in the music if you were giving a mark in that band. So we look specifically at pass first. So here we hope to hear generally correct notes if you were awarding a mark between 20 and 23. So there may be some wrong notes, some errors, and sufficiently reliable intonation to maintain tonalities. So there may be some out-of-tune notes, there may be some areas of the instrument that are less exact in terms of intonation, but the overall tonality will be retained. If we look at rhythm for pass, we're expecting a suitable tempo. So if it's a very fast, lively piece, we're not expecting it to be heard at a snail's pace to achieve a pass. It may not be a particularly stylish, animated pace that you've chosen, but if it's suitable, then we're looking at a pass. We're also expecting to hear a generally stable pulse, so there may be a little bit of unevenness along the way, some bumps along the road, but a general controlled pulse. And allied with that, overall rhythmic accuracy. So there might be some rhythms that aren't actually correct, not exactly what's on the page, but overall, that picture will kind of remain cohesive. In terms of tone, generally reliable, so it may not be a particularly attractive and nuanced tone in a sort of pass category performance, but there'll be adequate tonal awareness. Even at the pass level, where in terms of shape, we're expecting to hear some realization of musical shape and detail. So a little bit of dynamic interest. It may not be particularly wide or expressive or varied, but something going on there. In terms of the performance, generally secure, prompt recovery from slip. So To achieve a pass mark, we're not expecting the playing, the performance to be seamless. There may be some hesitations. It may kind of come off the rails a little bit in terms of continuity, but there'll be a prompt recovery from slips. So getting back on the horse again, getting the music flowing again will be achieved in a pass. So that's a lot of talk from me. Now we're going to have a bit of fun. We're going to get all you to mark like an examiner. So what we've got now is a series of excerpts from mock exams, actual exams administered by real examiners for you to have a listen to. So we're going to start off by listening to a young man taking grade 5 violin. He's going to be playing a Coron by Corelli. And what I want you to do as you listen to this performance is using your criteria sheets, thinking about which band of marks you think that the playing most correlates with. So we're not going to be thinking about specific marks, so not thinking about whether it's 22 or 23 or 27 or 28, anything like that, but just a sort of broad brush choice of the 4 categories: below pass, pass, merit, and distinction. So here we go with our Corelli Courant from grade 5 violin. Or maybe not, not got much sound there. Back. See if we can get some sound going. Thank you. Okay, so having heard that and having a look across the criteria, we're just going to have a show of hands round the stadium today to see how your fledgling examiner marking skills might be shaping up. So, want everyone to put their hand up at some point, only vote for one category, but see if everyone can decide where they think that is. So hands up first for who think that correlates with a below pass mark. Well, that's a good start. Now, what about pass? Anyone thinking it's a pass level? Okay, we've got one on the front row, not many, a few here. Okay, what about merit? Hands up for merit. Okay, so quite a few. And distinction? Okay, I don't think we've seen everybody's hand up there, but yeah, I think of the hands that we did see, I think we've got a good degree of accuracy. So this piece would receive a merit outcome. The reasons for it, it's a positive performance, it has projected tone, there's fundamental accuracy of notes and time. He's playing what's on the page sincerely and accurately. The tempo is apt, it's a suitable tempo, and there is some dynamic shaping. Some of the reservations that perhaps keep it out of the distinction category are the tone isn't fully consistent and command of intonation isn't fully refined. It does need a bit more varied tonal weight and emphasis to capture the dance to the courant, after all. But overall, we're always thinking in the exam room about the overall performance. We're not thinking about isolated details. Overall, this is a positive performance. It carries musical conviction. It sounds convincing, and that's very much why it's a merit outcome for that piece. So, on this slide we see our 5 kind of descriptors, our marking criterion, performance, pitch, time, tone, shape and performance. And here it's presented in a sort of a virtuous circle. Even though on our criteria sheets, you've got the 5 boxes kind of delineated, separated out. It's important to remember that each of those 5 elements are interdependent, that they kind of support each other. So for example, if the tone of a performance isn't very good, it's likely to have an effect on the pitch, the control of intonation as well. Similarly, if the music isn't very well in time, that's kind of jogs the flow, that's going to have an effect on the performance column of the playing. So, if we kind of reflect on how well or badly we did in our assessment of that one, we're going to hear another performance now. And again, refer to your criteria and see what we think of the next one. So we've got a young man playing trumpet grade 1. He's going to play Ron by Sasasto. So, same format, have a listen, look across the columns, all 5, and see where we think this sits.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's all vote again. Want to see everyone's hand up at some point. Vote for one category out of the 4, please. So we'll go top down this time. Anyone think that most kind of accurately correlates with the distinction category? Put your hand up, please. Oh, another distinction on the front row. Oh, a few there. Okay, what about merit? Yeah, quite a few, especially over the side. Yep, lots there. Anyone think this is pass playing? Yep, maybe a few less. Yep. Anyone think this is not worthy of pass, a below pass outcome? Oh, got a few, yeah. A few harsh markers on this side. Yeah, so again, this performance would receive a merit mark. It has a sense of drive. Again, there's reliability in terms of the nuts and bolts of the playing, the notes are correct, the rhythm's accurate. There's some fluffed attacks and drooping tone and intonation at phrase ends. It needs more shape, but the tempo is apt. And again, it carries musical conviction. We're convinced by the playing there. So in coming to a mark, us as examiners, we're kind of balancing a balancing act of assessing the relative strengths and weaknesses of each performance. It's kind of important to kind of recognise that many performances we hear won't kind of follow a nice, neat trajectory across the 5 boxes in terms of pitch, time, tone, shape and performance. There's often kind of uneven profile. There may be distinction elements in terms of like the tone, but the play may not be fluent, and that kind of will drag the mark down. So it's very much as we see on the slide, weighing scales, a kind of balance, a holistic balance of those 5 elements we're thinking about. Here's our 5 elements again in glorious Technicolor. If we were to think about encapsulating, blending those 5 elements of pitch, time, tone, shape and performance just into one word to represent each of the categories, we're thinking about pass level playing as being generally controlled. Merit, a higher degree of accomplishment, largely controlled, and distinction, fully controlled. If we take that to its kind of natural conclusion, we might want to think of below pass playing as insufficiently controlled. So now we're just going to think about the effectiveness of ABRSM's exam assessments. In terms of reliability, we assess the performances we hear accurately. We marking to published criteria, transparent, generalist criteria. It's very, very important to note that the criteria, if you look through them with a fine-tooth comb, you won't find anything that's specifically relating to just one instrument. They're generalist criteria. Obviously, as examiners, we will have our instrumental specialisms. I mean, mine's a clarinet player, and Woodward more generally. But when we're marking exams, we're putting that expertise to a certain level aside. We're assessing through a kind of a different lens, a more holistic overview of the playing. The assessment is consistent. It doesn't fluctuate, so it doesn't matter if we're examining in Agra, Altrincham or Acapulco. It's the same all around the world. We don't adjust our expectations in any shape or form. On those lines, it's perhaps worth mentioning, again, there's no kind of consideration of candidates' age. So you might have a 7-year-old taking grade 8, if we're lucky, or a 19-year-old taking grade 1. But the criteria remain. There's validity in the assessment. We assess the right things, those 5 elements that we've already spent a bit of time talking about that are common to any musical performance. It doesn't matter what instrument or voice it's on, what level or standard, those 5 elements remain true. The assessment has meaning. It's meaningful in that diagnostic value is given to the assessment, and that's in the form of our examiner comments, which will pinpoint the pluses and minuses of your playing, and the relative strengths and weaknesses therein. So thinking about practical grades specifically, as well as assessing performance skills across the 3 pieces that you present in the exam, we also assess supporting skills. So there's 3 of these. You can think of them as being technical skills. That's in terms of scales and arpeggios that we learn. Just worth mentioning that if you're a singer, taking a singing exam, this section of the exam, the scales, is replaced by the performance of an unaccompanied traditional song. Notation skills. This is a sight reading. And listening skills, that's represented by the oral test. So we're going to have a look in a bit more detail about the oral test now. This is often quite an unpopular section of the exam with candidates. And there's quite a lot we can do for ourselves and teachers, parents, to kind of ameliorate that and prepare for the oral test. Candidates often feel that they're quite exposed at this point of the exams, that they've got to interact with the examiner. They can't kind of hide behind their instruments anymore. So the elements that we assess and we kind of hope to promote learning of in the oral tests include pitch, and right from the initial grade, in grades 1 to 3, that is tested through echo singing, where the examiner plays a phrase or several phrases on the piano, and we require you to sing that back to us. Identifying a pitch change. So right from grade 1, spotting a sort of a change, like a mistake, in terms of pitch, and locating it as the beginning or end of the melody. From grade 4 upwards, rather than singing a series of echoes, we require candidates to repeat a melody, so that it's been played twice on the piano. Important to mention that if singing isn't your thing, you do have the option always to play the melody back on your instruments. It's quite a difficult task, but the choice is there to do that. We also have test pitch awareness by singing from notation, so that's the sight singing. So at grades 4 and 5, you're required to just sing a row of semi-reeds in free time, no kind of rhythm attached to that. As we move further up the grades, candidates are required to recognise cadences, chords and modulations, which all require that kind of developing sense of pitch awareness. Another fundamental element we assess in the oral test is time. So again, right from initial grade, we ask candidates to clap in time as we play. The echo singing that we've just been speaking about, we're also hoping to hear rhythmic accuracy, so not just the notes being reproduced, but the timing as well. From grade 2 upwards, identifying a change in rhythm, so not just a change in pitch. And also from grade 2, recognising a tempo change, so that's where the music might get gradually faster or slower, or indeed changes, or stay the same. From grade 6 upwards, we're expecting sight singing to have rhythmic accuracy as well, so where you're singing from full notation, not just a series of free rhythm notes. Also from grades 4 and 5, we have clapping back the rhythm of a repeated phrase, and also identifying the meter, the time signature. Another thing we look to assess in the oral test is the candidate's awareness of musical features. Starting at the lowest grades, articulation, smooth or detached playing, dynamics, louds and quiets. The questions get more kind of sophisticated as we move through the grades, but at the lowest grades, like initial grade, the question might simply be, was it a loud or quiet piece? Questions about tempo also feature across the grades, and tonality, that's major or minor key. We kind of test that from grade 3. Awareness of musical character comes in from grade 4, where we'll ask candidates what musical features in the music give the piece its character. So there we're looking for answers where not particularly describing the character of the music. It might be happy, it might be sad. It's fine to say those things, but the reasons behind that. So if it's a sad piece, it might be in a minor key. It might have a slow tempo. For example, it might have smooth phrasing. From grade 5 upwards, we're expecting candidates to have some awareness, some perception of musical style and period. So these are the main kind of the main sort of musical periods: Baroque, classical, romantic, and modern 20th century. Also, musical texture from grade 6 upwards, whether the playing of pieces polyphonic, homophonic, melody and accompaniments, so on. And also structure, musical structure in terms of phrase lengths, whether the music's maybe like an A, B, A structure, and so on. So, time for us to put on our examiner hats again. We're going to do a bit of marking. And this time we're going to be looking at the oral tests. So first, just talk you through the criteria for oral tests. So this section of the exam is just marked out of 18. Because it's the smallest part of the assessment, the mark bands are very narrow, so a distinction mark is either 17 or 18. Merit mark is just 15 or 16. Pass has a slightly wider parameter, 12 to 14. And then below pass, looking down from 11 below that. It's perhaps worth mentioning it, and you might have picked up on this looking at your criteria, but ABRSM examiners only mark from a third of the total for any attempt at any section of the exam, no matter how rudimentary. So, for example, if you look on your criteria, you'll see that the pieces start from marks of 10 out of 30, a third. The only scenario where you'll get a 0 for any section of the exam is if you don't attempt anything at all. But any attempt, play one note, that's a guaranteed 7. So if you find yourself coming into the exam and don't feel terribly prepared for a piece or section of the exam, do have a go, play something, you'll get some credit for it. Okay, in terms of the descriptors, distinction, looking for accuracy throughout, musically perceptive, and confident response. There's obviously a slight nuance in there because all those things aren't going to describe 17 and 18. A mark of 17 might indicate where there's just like a small error in one of the tests, but looking at the big picture, it will kind of correlate roughly with that. For merit mark for oral tests, we're going to expect strengths significantly outweighing weaknesses. So basically, there'll be significantly more correct responses than incorrect. And there'll be a secure response and musical awareness there. In terms of pass, strengths just outweighing weaknesses, so only just more of the tests correct than incorrect. There might be some hesitancy in the response. And looking at below pass, that's where the kind of criteria is just kind of tipped on its head. weaknesses outweighing strengths. So more things wrong than right. It's important to perhaps flag up that in the oral test there aren't kind of individual marks for individual sections of the assessment. There's just too many to think about that. We're always looking at the overall response. So for example, if you think about grade 1 oral, our first test, the pulse test, 3 elements to that. You've got to clap in time while the examiner plays. You're required to give a louder clap on the strong beats, and then identify the meter, the time signature has been in 2 or 3. So 3 elements already there. In the echoes, the second test, you're singing 3 echoes, so you've kind of got 3 more elements there. The change test, that's a simple kind of right or wrong, 1 element. And then we have 2 feature questions. So for grade 1, questions about loud and quiet playing and smooth and detached. So you can imagine as we move through the grades, the kind of level of testing increases. So it wouldn't be possible to like attach a single mark to each test. We're just thinking about the overall response, the overall accuracy. So, examiner time again. We're going to listen to a set of grade 1 oral tests. It's the young man who played the trumpet earlier. So again, I want you to listen to his responses, look at your criteria for the oral test, which is, I think you'll find it on the back of your pieces criteria there. Just to mention that in this recording, the sound and picture aren't 100% synced. So when you're assessing, particularly the pulse test, go with what you hear rather than what you're seeing in terms of the candidates clapping. So again, we'll have a show of hands at the end.
First, clap in time while I play. Join in as soon as you can and give a louder clap on the strong beats. Is it in 2 time or 3 time?
3 time.
Thank you. Next, I'd like you to sing 3 phrases as echoes. Here is the key chord and your starting note. 1, 2, 1, 2. Thank you. Now I'll play a phrase twice, but with a change to one of the notes the second time. Tell me whether the change was near the beginning. First, clap in time while I play. Join in as soon as you can and give a louder clap on the strong beats. Is it in 2 time or 3 time?
3 time.
Thank you. Next, I'd like you to sing 3 phrases as echoes. Here is the key chord and your starting note. 1, 2, 1, 2. Thank you. Now I'll play a phrase twice, but with a change to one of the notes the second time. Tell me whether the change was near the beginning or near the end. Here is the key chord and the tonic. 1, 2, 1, 2. And now with the change. Was the change near the beginning or near the end?
Near the end.
Thank you very much. Listen to this piece and then I'll ask you about loud or quiet playing and about smooth or detached notes. Where was the quietest part of the music?
Around the middle.
And at the beginning, were the notes smooth or detached?
Detached.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so let's have a show of hands for that. Anyone think this is a below pass set of all responses for grade 1? Hands up. We've got all the mean examiners are over here. What about pass level? Okay, anyone think it matches mostly with the merit criteria? Hands up. Okay, quite a few there. And anyone for distinction? Yeah, again, a fair few. Yeah, so this set of responses would receive a distinction mark. Just to unpack the responses and reasons for that. The first test, he clapped in time. If you kind of followed the sound rather than where his hands were out of sync with the picture. He clapped louder on the strong beats, and he also correctly identified the meter as in 3. The echo tests, these were mostly correct. They weren't entirely precise. There was kind of an error in the last test. 1 or 2 slightly pitchy notes along the way, but generally it was solid. The change test, it was simply correct. There's no 2 ways about that. And he answered both of the feature questions correctly. So that would be a distinction set of all tests. Okay, so this slide just kind of continues the kind of assessment criteria there, showing how the level of expectation moves between pass, merit and distinction. Again, we're thinking about pass, generally controlled, merit largely, and distinction fully controlled. So another set of all tests to have to think about. Maybe again, if you reflect on how well you marked the last set and see if you can improve, get a bit more of a consensus in the room today. So it's our young man who played the Corelli earlier, the grade 5 violinist. This is his set of grade 5 Aural.
Here is a melody for you to repeat. Would you prefer to sing it or play it?
Sing it, please.
I'll play it twice. Here is the key chord. And your starting note. 1, 2, 1, 2. Here it is again.
La 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 la.
Thank you. Would you prefer to sing notes in treble clef or bass clef?
Treble clef, please.
Please sing the notes at number 2 on this page. Sing them slowly, and I'll help you by giving you the right note if you sing a wrong one. Here is the key chord, G major. And this is your starting note, G.
La 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 la.
Thank you. Listen to this piece Then I'll ask you about articulation and style and period. During the final phrase, was the articulation smooth or detached?
Detached.
Is the style and period of this music classical, romantic, or 20th century?
Classical.
Which features of the music suggest that?
It has use of scales. It doesn't have a huge range of the keyboard, and it has regular phrase lengths.
Now clap the rhythm of the notes in this phrase after I've played it twice more. Here it is again. Is it in 2-time, 3-time, or 4-time?
Two-time.
Thank you.
Okay, so again, if you're going to have a show of hands, anyone thinking this is below pass or responses? Good. Pass. Pass. Anyone think it's pass level? All the mean markers over here again. Any for merit? Oh, yeah, quite a popular choice over here. And distinction. Yeah, I think we've actually really nailed one that time. I saw the most hands for distinction. So yeah, this is a very assured set of oral responses and would get a distinction mark. Just to unpack the responses again, the melody repetition was entirely correct. It sang the right notes, it sang the right rhythms. The sight singing, even though you didn't have the examiner's you couldn't see the notes that he was actually singing in front of you, you'll notice the examiner didn't have to correct any wrong notes because there weren't any. It was entirely correct. He answered both feature questions correctly. He identified the period, and he also gave valid reasons to support his assertion that it was from the classical period. The clapping back of the melody was entirely accurate again, and he took a little bit of time to consider the meter. You could imagine he was kind of replaying what he'd heard in his head there, but yeah, he absolutely nailed it. It was in 2-time. So yeah, very kind of strong response there. So now we're going to think about supporting resources to help oral test preparation for you as candidates and teachers. So we have a set of specimen oral tests. There's 5 books available. First one covers grades 1 to 3, second is grades 4 and 5, and reflecting the kind of complexity and number of tests, there's a single book for each of grades 6, 7 and 8. So these are specimen tests, they're not the actual ones you'll get in the exam, but they are very, very similar. They're all in the same format and level of demand. So there's practice examples for each test in a range of musical styles. Most crucially, what's included in these books is the examiner rubrics. So they're the exact words that all of us as examiners use to introduce a test. So by making yourselves familiar with those words, you're going to be in a stronger position to do well in the oral test. You'll know what's coming next. You'll know what's expected of you. And so you can be fully prepared for what will happen on the day. There's descriptions of the tests as they appear in the syllabus, and model answers for things like, if we consider that the young man, his description of the reasons why it was from the classical period, there'd be sort of those sort of model answers included there. The CD books available with each of these publications. So if as teachers you're kind of struggling to play the higher grade pieces in particular, especially the feature question pieces, which are quite demanding, having the CD backing can really help you focus on your candidates' responses, and indeed your candidates can practice these in their own time, in their practice time at home. We also have a range of apps to support your practice. There's a range of these to cover pieces, so for example things like Practice Partner, where you can get the backing track if you're an instrumentalist, or one hand of a piano part to support your practice. There's also apps for oral, sight reading, scales, preparation and theory. These are all available on iPad and iPhone only, but if you do have access to those platforms, they can be a really good resource to support your preparation. One of the apps, and there's always more information about these things on the ABRSM website, which is just abrsm.org, the Aural Trainer. So interactive app that you can help prepare all elements of the oral tests. There's two of them. One covers grades 1 to 5 and one to grades 6 to 8. And here we see a kind of just a screenshot from the Aural Trainer app, just giving you an idea of the layout. It's interactive. You can log your progress. Your teacher can see what elements you're kind of improving on, what you still need support on. So that they're kind of very useful in preparing for the oral tests. So now we're going to have a think about sight reading. Again, this is often another less popular element of the exam. Again, candidates can feel a little bit exposed, a little bit unprepared, in that they've got to play something that they haven't seen before. Whereas the other aspects of the exam, obviously the pieces and the scales, you can be fully prepared and ready to go with those. So why do we sight read? This is something that candidates, pupils might often ask of their teachers. And there's some very good reasons why we promote sight reading as a skill. So it helps students keep making progress and fulfill their musical potential. Most crucially, it's a skill which helps students become independent learners. Ultimately, we all end up teaching ourselves. We need to, it's kind of a process where we can really become our own teachers. We can get on with the work ourselves. This kind of speech bubble perhaps sums that up succinctly. The one practical skill I want to teach my students is to be able to work music out for themselves, so that they're not just copying the teacher, that they've got kind of some independence in their sort of learning. Sight reading ability, it's a valuable asset, making music more accessible and helping the learning process to be faster. So if you can start a piece on your own, it may not be perfect, but if you've got the kind of skills to make a start on the piece, when you bring it to your teacher, the process of getting that to a good standard is going to be really accelerated. Most crucially, music is a language. No two ways about it. You need to be able to read it as well as speak it. Otherwise, you're just kind of copying your teachers. You need to have a kind of comprehension of the dots and squiggles that are presented to you in your music. So the elements of sight reading that we kind of assess are notes, pitch and key. so awareness of the letter names of the notes and the tonality of the piece, the key signature. Rhythm, so that's the note values, the note lengths, also tempo and control of pulse. Musical detail and presentation, you might consider that kind of the icing on the cake, the potential to realise the markings that aren't the notes in time, so that's like the dynamics, the phrasing, tempo changes, and bringing the music to life and characterising it. So, thinking about our mark bands for the sight reading. So, sight reading is marked out to 21. So we've got pass 14 to 16, merit 17 or 18. Again, a narrow band for merit, reflecting the fact that the overall merit band 120 to 130. That's the kind of smallest one. And distinction 19 to 21. So what are we looking for as examiners for your sight reading attempt to pass? Well, we're hoping to hear continuity generally maintained. That means that the reading keeps going mostly. There may be some hesitations, stumbles along the way, but it won't kind of completely grind to a halt. Note values mostly realised, so the rhythmic values, there'll be some differentiation. You won't be playing everything just as crotchets if there's several different values in the reading. Pitch outlines in place, so despite errors. So this means there will be, if we're given a pass mark, there's probably going to be some long notes. But the outline, the kind of contour will be kind of achieved. So if the phrase is rising, even though the notes may not be absolutely precise, that's the trajectory that the candidate's playing will kind of mirror. The presentation may be cautious, so we're thinking about it might be played quite slowly, it might not really engage with the character and the tempo of the piece, as intentions. Thinking about merits, so adequate tempo, so it may not be particularly stylish, but it will be effective, and there'll be a steadiness of pulse, there'll be a consistency to the beat. Most of the rhythm will be correct, the note values, and a lot of the notes and awareness of the key will be more developed to be given a mark of 17 or 18. And that kind of all adding up to a largely secure presentation. For a distinction mark in the sight reading, we're expecting to be fluent. We're expecting to begin and end kind of in time without kind of any hiccups and derailing of the flow along the way. Rhythmically accurate, yep, the note values will be recognised and reproduced correctly. Similarly, in terms of notes, they'll be secure too. Confident presentation, so this kind of played out through, it may be played at a stylish tempo, a tempo that kind of reflects the marking. And musical detail realised, so there'll be the dynamics, the phrasing, articulation, they'll be kind of incorporated into the reading as well for a distinction mark. So just on the slide, we can just see how the level of demand moves up for each of those kind of factors as we move through the mark bands. And then you just see those features kind of grouped together. So, looking on the back of your criteria sheets there, we should find the marking criteria for the sight reading. Just mention briefly below pass, so 13 and below. So here again, it's going to be turning the past criteria a little bit upside down, lacking overall continuity. So the playing may kind of fall apart a little bit. There may be incorrect note values, and similarly inaccuracies of notes, pitch and key. We might kind of ignore the key signature entirely, so an insecure presentation. So we've got our young man, grade 1 trumpet player, back again for you to do with the marking. So we're going to hear his sight reading attempt, and as he plays, you'll see the notation of what he should be playing. Worth pointing out that before this point in the examiner will have given the candidate half a minute to look through the test, and during which time they can play out loud any part of it they wish. Okay, so using your criteria, let's have a think about a mark band for this reading of grade 1 trumpet.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's think about our mark bands for that. Anyone would give this a distinction mark? Hands up. Yep, got a few over here, a few scattered around. What about merits? Thinking of your criteria? Yep, quite a lot. Pass? Yep, quite a lot over this side. We seem to be kind of group mentality and sticking with your peers there. Anyone for below pass? Okay, it's all the mean markers over here again. Yeah, so this reading would get a pass mark. The reasons for that are it's positive, it keeps going, it gets from beginning to end continuously. There's a broad outline of the notes and time. There's certainly some errors, there's some wrong notes, there's some wrong counting, but there's a sense of the key and the meter across most of the reading there. There's some missed detail, the dynamics don't really happen, although there is some attention to the articulative details. So that would get a marker between 14 and 16, a pass. Okay, there's our mark criteria, and we can just kind of correlate that to what we've heard. Continuity generally maintained, absolutely. Note values mostly realised, yeah, there were some that weren't, but mostly. Pitch outlines in place, despite errors, again, we can totally sign up to that. Cautious presentation, it's actually a little bit better than cautious, it was played at a suitable tempo. So we're going to move on to our third of the supporting tests, the ABRSM tests and practical exams. Scale. So let's have a think about what value the scales have. So they help with fundamental techniques. So if you're a string player, shifts of hand position, keyboard player, thinking about thumb under in your scales, valve and slide combinations for brass players, and sort of fingering patterns for woodwind players. They help focus on tone production and control across the note range of all the instruments. So obviously the lowest grades were only testing maybe a fifth or an octave, but as we move up through the grades, and by grade 8 we're looking at the whole range of the instrument, the full compass. They're a good way to demonstrate fundamental technical control of an instrument. So if you can play your scale patterns, so not just scales, arpeggios, dominant diminished sevenths, whole tone scales, and so on, if you have that fundamental facility of playing those accurately, fluently, you're likely to be able to benefit from that when you come across those same patterns in the pieces that you're playing. A perhaps overlooked feature A bonus of good scale work is they provide valuable tools for improvising and composing. So if you kind of are aware of how scales are constructed, the kind of theory underpinning them, that's really going to help you with improvising and composition, if that's something you're interested in. Scales on all instruments, they represent physically the grammar and language of tonal music. The vast majority of the music we'll play in a sort of Western context is tonal. So they really help reinforce that. Similarly, in terms of the oral tests, they help awareness of tonal relationships, keys, modulations, and cadence points. The kind of idea behind these supporting tests is that they really underpin all the aspects of your playing your pieces. They inform and support each other. And that's common across all instruments. They develop awareness of distance between notes, and they also enhance sight reading skills. So if you can recognize those patterns when you're sight reading, that will really help sense of flow there. So thinking about our marking criteria for scales, even at a pass level, we're expecting a bit more than just playing the right notes. So 14 to 16, generally correct notes, sort of pitch, despite errors. Continuity generally maintained, there will kind of be a flow to them, and there'll be generally reliable tone. The tempo may be cautious, but they'll kind of keep going. So, just a couple more examples for you to mark. We're going to hear a set of grade 3 trombone scales. So again, referring to your criteria, have a think about where this set sits in our marking.
E flat major scale, toned. A flat major, legato toned. D minor, toned. A chromatic scale starting on C, legato toned.
A flat major, toned. E major slurred.
Would you like to come and say something about how to make the exams? What do you feel when you were a student? How did you feel?
A harmonic minor, slurred. C sharp melodic minor, toned. A chromatic scale starting on A, slurred.
Can we all stand up?
Arpeggios now in the key of B major, and that's toned. D flat major arpeggio, slurred. E minor, toned.
Okay, as we're running out of time now, we're going to kind of wrap up our presentation today. But I hope whether you're a candidate, a teacher, a parent, anyone kind of interested and engaged in the ABRSM system, I hope you kind of learned a bit more about the exam structure today, and going forward in your next assessment, your next exam, hopefully you'll be a little bit more prepared and be able to use what you've learned today to enhance your performances. The criteria that you've all got copies for, that's all available on the ABRSM website, abrsm.org, and I commend you to use that as a reference for how you think your playing is developing and alongside your teachers. So thank you very much for your attention today. Thank you for taking part in our little quizzes on the marking. And now I'm going to hand over back to Sonia. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shaw. Thank you so much. Cian, Miss Cian, I want you to say something, how we can encourage our students to take this up. What did you do when you were a student?
There are lots of useful tips there, and I hope you enjoyed marking those videos. Looking here tonight, I see a lot of faces that I recognize, faces that I have seen already in the exam room. Can I have a show of hands? How many of you have already done your exam, your prep test? You have played or sung to either me or one of my colleagues? Can you wave your hand if you have done it? Just those in the front, at the side, have you done your exams yet? Some? At the back, have you done your exams? Yes, I see some hands. All right, hands down. For those of you who have done your exams, did you feel nervous? Any of you felt nervous walking into the room? Hands up, wave. Yeah, I see some. It's normal to be nervous. Thank you, hands down. I did these exams growing up. I know what it's like to walk into the room, play to somebody, an examiner you have never met before. I understand how that feels, but it's normal to be nervous. I've been performing for many years and I still feel nervous performing. It never really goes away. But over time, you learn to enjoy it. How can you learn to enjoy the experience? 1, practice. Know your pieces, know your songs. Can you turn to the neighbor on your right, tell them, practice. If they are falling asleep, shake them, say practice. Many of you are sleeping. Shake the neighbor on your right, say practice. Shake them, wake them up. Yeah, I see the teachers thanking me. You have to practice. All right. Why is it important to practice? You have to know your notes. You have to know your rhythms. You have to know the words. When you know it, you can be more secure when you perform. What's next? Besides knowing the notes and the rhythm, what's next? You have to be telling a story. What's the mood of your piece? Are you playing hot cross buns? Playful? Are you singing Far Blue Sea? A calm, reflective song? Are you playing pigeon steps? A cheeky piece? You have to know the mood. So turn to the neighbor on your other side and say, tell me the story. Yeah. You have to be communicating more than the notes and the rhythms. I have to feel the mood of the piece that you are communicating. So first, practice. Tell me the mood of your piece. Show it to me in your playing, in your singing.
Lastly, practice performing. Grab a friend. Grab a few friends saying, I play, you listen. And then you play, I listen. Maybe try marking them, like you've marked the videos. What would you give them? Pass? Merit? Distinction? Tell them. Practice performing. I hope you enjoy making music, not just for exams, but you enjoy playing music. Play music with your friends. Maybe when you're a little older and you can play a little more, you can play for your family. You can play at weddings. You can play at birthdays. It doesn't just have to be for an exam. So I wish all of you all the best in your musical journey. And for those of you yet to take your exams, I wish you every success. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sian. Dear children, teachers, I cannot forget what we did about 9 years back now. I got a call from one particular teacher, I was in Delhi, that we want to do the ABRSM exams, and we've got hundreds of students who would like to do it. And I did not take it seriously. And I will always be grateful, and I would like to thank Mr. Shamim Sheikh Mowahed for bringing ABRSM to your school, to CMS. And Geeta ma'am came all the way from Lucknow to Delhi to say, yes, we want these exams. Thank you so much, Ms. Geeta. Shamim, over to you.
Thank you so much. It's an honor being here, standing among this distinguished college. I don't want to take much time of you. As very well said our dear examiner, there is no way of ABRSM playing or practicing or teaching. And I would say, music is not only discipline, which is fundamental things for any great achievement. But music also is a playground for creativity. So let's do some session of creativity all together. I need your help, children, especially those who are involved in the exam. I need your help. Am I audible to you? Yes. Okay, so we are going to do some call and response. Is it okay? Call and response. I would say something, you use your body, right? And you use your word, speech, and then if we go well, we go to the music, right? Are you ready? Everybody ready? So help me. This is an African game that it starts like that. Bachi, bachi. No, it was mistake. One more time. Soko, soko. Bachi, bachi. Vida, vida. So please stand up, stand up. Yeah. Ready? Here we go. Soko, soko. Bachi, bachi. Vida, vida. We go to the next step. You learned before, we go to the next step. Soko, soko, bachi, bachi. Soko, soko, vida, vida. Soko, vida. Soko, soko, vida, vida. Bachi, vida. Good, very good, very good. Now I make a sequence, right? Soko, soko, bachi, bachi. Soko, soko, bachi, bachi. Soko, soko, vida, vida. Got it? Soko, bachi, soko, vida. Soko, bachi, vida, hai. Ready? Soko, soko, bachi, bachi. Soko, soko, bachi, bachi. Soko, soko, vida, vida. Now listen. Soko, bachi, soko, vida, soko, bachi, vida, he, aha. Soko, bachi, soko, vida, soko, bachi, vida, he, aha. Memorize it, memorize it. It's a sequence of 2-4, right? Memorize it. Engage your memory. Focus. It's really easy. It's really easy. I make it 2 parts. Soko, bachi, soko, vida. Soko, bachi, soko, vida. Soko, vida, bachi. No, you don't. No. Okay. Clear everything? Now, I need a piano. We go to the next. You are a really good musician. Let's sing it. Can somebody come here? Can somebody come? We will find a partner. Let's do one more step and then we go for singing. Find a partner. Instead of bachi, do like this. Bachi. Clear? So it would be like this. It would be like this. Soko, bachi, soko. One more time. My bad. Are you ready? Are you ready? Please memorize it because we want to make it. Soko, soko, bachi, bachi. Soko, soko, bachi, bachi. Got it? So find a partner, Okay. Soko, soko, vida, vida. Now the difficult part. Soko, bachi, soko, vida. Soko, bachi, vida, he. Yeah, this part, let's practice. Soko, bachi, soko, vida, soko, bachi, vida, he, aha. Ready? If you can memorize this, you are really good in your oral test. One more time, ready? Here we go. Soko, bachi, soko, vida, soko, bachi, vida, he, aha. Yeah? So from the beginning, here we go. Soko, soko, bachi, bachi. Soko, soko, vida, vida. Soko, soko, bachi, bachi. Soko, soko, vida, vida. Soko, bachi, soko, vida. Soko, bachi, vida, he. Aha. Yes. So if you have time, we can go with music. If you don't have time, katam. Okay. We have time. Okay, let's go.
Thank you so much.
So now, soko, soko, bachi, bachi, soko, soko, vida, vida, soko, soko, bachi, bachi, soko, soko, vida, vida. You did, I just learn, this very simple melody, Just learn to sing it and then we go for the body percussion. So I first read it, I first sing it. Ready? Here we go. Soko, soko, bachi, bachi, soko, soko, vida, vida, soko, soko, bachi, bachi, soko, soko, vida, vida, soko, bachi, soko, vida, soko, bachi, vida, vida, soko, bachi, soko, vida, soko, bachi, vida, vida. Who can do this with body percussion properly here? Who can do this? Come here. Come here, fast. Tell me, go. Yeah. Very brave girls. So let's do it. Very good. Hello. Yeah, do it. Wow, you know also. Ready? Here we go. So, bachi, so, vida, bachi, so, vida, so, bachi, vida, so, bachi, vida, okay, the nature of this game is not to looking. I know, but yeah, don't look. Start to do it with a partner. Find a partner and do with a partner. Don't look at this. This is not a show for to look. It's to engage. Ready? Here we go. Actually, look, if you do the movement, like soko, bachi, is one level. But if you say soko, bachi, soko, vida, and the melody and movement and speech all together, that's another level. Let's do it. Sing it, please. Sing it, and do it the party percussion. This is the last time. Here we go. Soko, bachi, soko, vida, soko, bachi, soko, vida, soko, bachi, soko, wow, I give the highest mark decision to go to examiner. They did an amazing job with this African. Thank you so much, children.
Where's my phone?
Thank you so much, sir.
No,
Music is a language of soul and a universal feeling that transcends boundaries and speaks directly through the heart. It has the power to heal, uplift, ignite emotions, weaving harmony into the chaos of life. Through its rhythm and melody, music connects us to our deepest feelings and to each other, creating moments of pure beauty that resonate long after the notes have faded. Now coming up next, let's welcome our very own orchestra. So ladies and gentlemen, presenting City Montessori School, Rajajipuram Campus 1, our very own orchestra with their amazing performance. Let's welcome them on stage with a huge round of applause. Come on, children. While we have the stage set up, there would be anyone who would like to ask any questions to our examiners or anybody would like to come and ask any question, Meru? Would you like to come till we have the stage set up done? Sure.
Good evening, sir and madam. My question was, what level of prospect pursue music offer?
Varda, Meru.
May I repeat the question? What level of prospect does scene music offer?
If you take up music, it's not necessary that you want to do music in your education or you want to make music your career. But once you do music, it just opens up so many doors for you. Firstly, as you are in school, for admissions. For university admissions, the admission officer is looking at something which is done over a long period of time. Just not, it's a little bit of kathak, or a little bit of jazz, music, especially a certified course like ABRSM, holds great value, and a lot of doors, as we said, will open with universities when you're going up for jobs. We're looking for that part of your life where you have really invested in besides your academics. Okay? So this is what music helps you to do. For example, after somebody wanted to do a PhD in artificial intelligence, and the prerequisite for that was a music degree. So please take up music. You have great teachers, a wonderful director who supports this music education. I hope it's clear.
Good evening, sir. I am Anand and I am currently appearing for Grade 5 vocals. And my question to you is, what are some important considerations to keep in mind while appearing for our examinations? What are some important considerations to keep in mind while appearing for our ABRSM examinations?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is preparation, and you can kind of, as Ian said, to your friends or peers, don't see the exam as just the kind of end point. So it's not just it should be a short observation of your performance rather than being performed. So preparation is everything. Yeah.
I wanted to add something to what Sonia said in response to the previous question about what are the prospects if somebody does music. Now, I can give you the example of my son, who did not study music beyond school. He just studied music, just like you are reading music here, taking exams of a music exam board, in this case the ABRSM exam. After he went to university to study medicine. But the music that he had done through his school, it helped him a lot because later on, first of all, music makes you a very gregarious person. Because music is typically not just done alone, it's typically done with other people. You are in different ensembles playing together, you might be at events playing together. Normally music is either sung together or played together. There are some solitary instruments like the piano could be played alone, but lots of instruments are played for groups of students. So it makes you a more gregarious or social person, so that's one thing. Secondly, what happens is that later on in life, wherever you go to, whichever college or university you go to, you will be with other people who play music or who sing. So then you find immediately when you enter any university or college, you'll find that there are others who are also interested in music, and that helps you. It gives you initially a kind of a social set. Similar-minded people who have similar interests to you. So that, you begin with people who are kindred spirits, who are, who are interested in the same thing as what you are interested in. So that really helps. And then throughout that, the fun that you have with music while you're at school, it continues really throughout your life. Our son is now 36 years old, but he has never stopped playing music, although he's a medical doctor. So you will never leave music. It will always be with you. And you'll always be finding, wherever you may be in the world, you'll find other people who do music, and you'll find that you veer towards them, you sort of, seek them out and they seek you out. You'll always have a social set and like-minded people to enjoy with.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, sir. Sir, I wanted to ask that how can my in any other profession or study which I want to do in my future?
I've said for medicine, for engineering, any course you want to do, a university wants to see this skill which you would have taken, especially certified. They would be very open to it, and there are times when they give you full scholarships, even if you're going in for engineering. Stanford, Cornell, MIT. There was a student, a CMS student, who did her grade 8 and ARSM in singing, and has got into MIT with full scholarship. Hardcore engineering. So you have to have marks, but you have to have this to build your profile. Thank you so much. I think so our orchestra is ready to perform.
So, when you go to university, the thing about a university is that it's not just studies. Whatever else you do as far as your studies are concerned, beyond that, there are other things as well. There could be sport, there could be a whole range of things. So just to extend the example, our son, he was part of the medical review. It's a kind of the musical production that they did once a year. So, it was very valued. The whole of the department of medicine valued the people who were musicians because they brought a certain kind of fun, more levity, and a kind of sociability to what would otherwise have been a very dry academic environment only. So people who do music are valued very much. In academic environments, it's not necessarily that it directly helped him in medicine, although in his case it did, because his music really shaped him, medically speaking, in the sense that he chose his specialism based on what music could allow him to do. So he chose palliative care, because he went to a palliative care home, where people who, it is known that there is no cure for their disease, who are, it's known that they will be passing on, passing away within a few weeks of their life. So he could not do anything for them other than play for them when he was an intern, when he was at the end of grade 1 year of university as a young medical student. So, of course, a young medical student had no skills, but then the head of the hospice asked him, what do you know? And he said, well, not much, but, I can play the guitar, I can play the piano, I can play the violin. So they said, okay, fine, why don't you bring your guitar? So he took in his guitar, and then there was a patient called Andy who was dying. He was a youngish person, early 40s. He had a brain tumor. It was known that he would be dying in the next 4, 5, 6 weeks. And the head of the hospice said that, okay, can you just talk to Andy, perhaps do some music. So Arjun is the name of our son. He asked Andy that, can you sing? I'd love to sing with you. Do you enjoy music? Do you like singing? So Arjun discovered that Andy couldn't speak. So then, he said, okay, if I tell you the names of some groups, if you nod yes for those who you like, and shake your head like that for those that you don't, I'll make a note of it, and then I'll sing you those that you like. So that's what they did. Arjun made a list of the things that Andy said he liked, the groups. And then when Arjun started the first song to sing the first song on his guitar for Andy, to his utter amazement, Andy sang. So a person who could not say anything, who had lost the sense of the voice, who didn't have any voice, who could not speak at all, could sing. And that set him off on a very interesting path of, it intrigued him, it made him very curious about how the brain works, that the faculty of speech is totally absent, but the faculty of singing is absolutely present. So then he read a lot and he did research, and he determined that he wanted to either go into neurology or palliative care or in psychiatry. And finally he chose palliative care, medicine for people who are dying. So music played a very important role in the choice of specialism that he went on to do. And it has helped him, all along. Everybody likes people who know music, because they bring fun and enjoyment, right? So wherever you are, if you're an engineer, if you're a, businessman, if you're a whatever, in any mehfil, you will make a great show, because everybody loves music, but very few are talented. So that's the beauty of music in one. And of course, at universities, there are proper scores for it. So when you apply for university, including in Indian universities, now if you go to the top Indian universities, the liberal arts ones and so on, they're increasingly looking for not just a person who's a good mind, but also a person who has more, strings to their bow, as it were, who have more, something more beyond academic prowess. So they give you marks for achievement in various fields. For example, in the field of music, depending on which grade you have done, you get marks. So if you got grade 8 distinction, as my son got in 2 instruments, then there are certain marks associated with that attainment, and that boosts your chances of going to a top university. So that, plus then later on, you're the life and soul of the college. So they love you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Before we proceed our performance, I would like to extend my heartiest and warmest welcome to the dear parents who are here, who have joined us for this workshop. Thank you, because without you, none of this would have been possible. So children, can we give a huge round of applause to our dear parents who are waiting out here? Thank you so much once again. So are we ready, children, orchestra students? Are we ready? So let's start the music. Wow, don't you think that is a marvelous performance? Let's cheer it up for our very own orchestra performance by our dear students. It's an absolute privilege to stand before you on this wonderful occasion as we extend our warmest regards to our esteemed guests. Today we are honored to have you all with us, our distinguished ABRSM examiners, who bring with them a wealth of knowledge, experience and dedication to the art of music. For being here with us, and your presence here is the importance of fostering musical excellence and nurturing the talent across generations. So thank you once again. May I request our manager, Professor Geeta Kadiri, along with our respected principal ma'am, to felicitate and honor our esteemed guests. May I request Mr. Robert, Mr. Philip, and Ms. Young to please join us on stage, along with Sona Khan ma'am. Can we also request our president to be on the stage to felicitate our esteemed guests?
on. 60 plus 4, 6,000.
Before we conclude this wonderful event, it's only fitting that we express our gratitude to everyone who made this possible. To do the honors, I now invite the ever-inspiring Ms. Sonia Khan ma'am for her unwavering support and visionary guidance to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you once again, dear CMS family, dear teachers, of course, our Professor Geeta Gandhi Kingdon, Mrs. Nisha Pandey, and all the teachers of Rajajipuram and the other city Montessori schools. The parents, we are nowhere without you. Your children are in the best hands possible. I've got to tell you, I travel to many schools around India, and I have never seen any school better than City Montessori School. I'll say it in black and white. This is the best school. I go to Woodstock School, British School, Hebron School. You can't compare City Montessori. You've got the best. The best you've got. Thank you so much, dear teachers and parents. Good night and have a lovely evening.
Children, we are not letting Sonia ma'am go without singing a song with us. This don't you agree? Yes or no? All right.
Okay? All right? Are we ready to dance? Okay? Ready? When you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. When you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. When you're happy and you know it, and you really want to show it. When you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
Alright children, we are going to start with the dispersal very soon. Okay, just one last time. If you're happy and you know it, shout hooray! Hooray! If you're happy and you know it, shout hooray! Hooray! If you're happy and you know it, and you really want to show it. If you're happy and you know it, shout hooray! Alright, so students are requested class 9 to start moving from gate number 2, class 6 and 8. The ABRSM students are requested to please be seated. And when you are told, only then the discussion will happen. The ABRSM students, please sit down.